I'm David DaVinci. I started magic at 6 years old, and it's literally taken me around the world. I put together a series of how to do magic tricks so that you can pursue your dreams in the world of illusion.
Hey everybody, I'm David DaVinci, and you're watching another episode of DaVinci TV Coin Tricks. Now this trick involves nothing more than 4 quarters, 2 cards. Now for the sake of today's example, I'll use my business cards. And it also uses a handkerchief or a square of fabric. It's placed out on the ground. The 4 quarters are placed into 4 corners of the cloth. Now here's something to notice. If you place the cards on top of any 2, no matter how you do it, there's always 2 quarters that are exposed. Unless, of course, you take one of those quarters and place it underneath the cloth and push it straight through. You see the first one go through like that? Watch, we'll do it again. The next quarter goes underneath the cloth, and listen. You can actually hear it get pushed straight through. Now here's one more time. Watch as we take the quarter invisibly, toss it under the card, it vanishes from there and reappears under the last card. If you want to learn how to do this, I'm going to teach you right now. So here's how the 4 quarters and 4 corners effect works. The important thing to note first is when I first learned this trick as a kid, we only had 2 types of quarters. One is the more traditional one with the head on one side and the eagle on the back. The other one was, I believe it was called a bicentennial quarter, where it was a little bit different. But it was pretty easy to make sure that you had the same types of quarters. Now, with all the different quarters that have been introduced for each of the states, it's a little bit harder to find the right quarters. So let me show you what quarters I prefer to use whenever I can. I like them to be all identical, or at least pretty similar. So these all have the eagle on the back. They don't have any of the states. If you're going to do this with any of the state coins, I would recommend that you get all of the same states. Or use nickels or 50-cent pieces or pennies. It doesn't really matter, but they should all look about the same. Same tint, same amount of wear, etc. Now, you can use 2 playing cards, you can use 2 business cards. They're borrowed, it doesn't matter. This trick uses a little bit of what is called a sleight of hand. So there's no trick coins, there's no trick cards, there's no trick cloths, none of that. Now the last thing is you can use a bandana. The problem with this style bandana is that there's so much going on that it's hard to see the quarters on top of that texture. I mean, you can see here, I place the quarters in the corners and it's very difficult to see. Whereas if it's on a flat surface like that, where it's a solid color, it makes it a little bit easier. Now a final thing that I would like to point out before we go into the tips and secrets of this, the reason I'm performing this on the floor, on carpet, is because it's actually easier to perform the effect when there's just a little bit of give in the surface. If you're doing it on asphalt or on a tabletop that's hard, it makes it just a little bit more difficult to execute the moves flawlessly. So here, with that being out of the way, let's go ahead and dive into what this is. Again, like I was saying, just 2 basic regular cards, and we're taking advantage of the fact that people don't know what's going to happen next. They have no idea what the trick is, so I start by explaining. The interesting thing about this is when you cover any 2 quarters, there's always 2 quarters showing. Now, at this point, my right hand pushes down on the corner of the quarter, and that flips up one of the edges like this. Okay? And that's all happening under the cover of this card. It's impossible to show you here, but that's essentially what's happening. It just gets pushed up and my fingers lift right here. Okay? So it's like this. And I pick it up. Now, to show you, again, it's here. Here, my fingers pick up the coin. Now there's no quarter there anymore, I've already picked it up, and I place that quarter on top of it. Quick point, when you put this card down, make sure the quarter goes next to it and not on top of it, because you can hear it fall. Okay, so that's very important. Now here's what happens. As I take this quarter and it goes underneath the cloth, my index finger and thumb hold the cloth like this, and my hand comes under here and just places the quarter like this. Place it right in my fingertips. And I try to do that in one fluid motion. It's not here and then there. It's just trying to be real smooth and fluid. My hand goes under, pretends like it pushes it through, and what happens there is the coins actually clink together a little bit. You reveal this to show that the quarter is passed through. Now here's the important thing. I'm still holding the quarter on this side. If you want to come around this side, it'll be a little bit easier to see. As I reveal the quarter is there, all the attention is right here. The card gets placed there, and look what happens. As I let go of the corner, the quarter goes underneath the card. Like before, try to place the quarter next to the other quarters, not on top of it, although it isn't as important here because if the quarters clink together, they already know there's two quarters there, so there might be a sound. You do the same thing, the quarter goes under, you grab it with your fingers, push through, you hear the clink, and it comes back like this. Now here's a subtle move that I recently invented for this illusion. I take the quarter and I pull it back off the card a little bit so I can actually show, not from the exposed view here, but I can move my hand over and show the quarter, talking about these, and then as I roll back over, my fingers go back. So at speed, it more or less looks like this. That quarter gets placed on top. The last move, I pretend I do that. Flip this card over, show the quarters vanished, and then you can scoop up the rest of the quarters and drop them into your hand and reveal. So that is the transportation of 4 quarters with 2 playing cards and a bandana. If you like this trick or you want to learn more magic, go to www.david-davinci.tv or simply subscribe to my YouTube videos.